Hey, so
Be back.
where we got cut off was you were saying the last time we talked, I was pointing out what was a thought and what was a belief and where the
Hmm.
watcher is, right?
Yes. Uh, so the conversation that we were having in my mind was first I was, there was a voice in my head that was telling me, how dare you question non-duality, and like, this is what is bringing you on the path and peace and all
You
the good
should
things.
question non-duality, by the way.
Okay, okay. Oh, okay. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
Uh,
come on. Sorry.
no, no. Yeah. So I asked you, okay, so there's no me has become my belief, and now it's a belief that there is no me and there is no I, and there is nothing, and it's a belief, right? This is a positive belief to have. It is helping us out when the personhood gets crazy. We can just remove the person out of the picture. So that's a belief, right? And you said, but that's a thought also. Like, that's a
Hmm.
thought. And then I said, that's a belief, that is just a thought. I was just going like this. And then you said, it's a thought. And you kept saying that it's a thought. And there came a point when suddenly there was nothingness. And then I laughed. And it was just that.
Hmm.
And then I was like, I'll speak to you in the morning. And the conversation was just that.
Hmm.
So yes, why should we question non-duality, and where do these two things meet? Like, it is a belief, and it is also a direct experience when it is a direct experience of nothingness.
Well, like you said, if a belief is helpful, then you can carry it. Fine. But at some point, no beliefs are helpful. And at that point,
Hmm.
something happens, and oftentimes it leads to either an awakening or a liberation. Uh, and so I can take you there right now if you'd like. Okay.
Yes.
Well then, this is, I mean, the basic direction here is to just sit. Let's just do this right now. Just sit for the next 1 minute, you know. Let's just sit for 1 minute and see what arises. And what arises in your mind, inevitably thoughts will come. Like I said, over time, they'll come less frequently. But right now, let's see if any thoughts come and don't get involved with them. Don't make any investment in them. Don't believe them. Don't develop any of these thoughts into a story. If a thought is there, allow it to be there, but just be the watcher of it and just sit there as just the watcher of all the thoughts that might be arising in your head or not. There might be a thought that comes up, or there might be blank open space as I'm speaking. Either way, you're the watcher. Just stay here for a second. The more you stay here as just the watcher of the thoughts that arise, the more you're stabilizing in your true being. And this is the exercise. This is all you need to do. This is how simple this is. Whenever a thought arises, ask yourself, who is seeing this thought? Or what essence is watching this thought arise? And then just sit as that essence. There's a saying that says, sweep the house, then sit. And that's the only direction I provide. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. Sweep the house can mean either get rid of thoughts or just watch them and then just sit. It sounds by your hand gesture that a thought arose. What would it like to say?
Uh, like there came a point where it was starting to seem 2D, like just everything was starting to seem like a screen and a painting, like everything in just one, like now it's 3D, but it was just, there was this moment where everything just seemed like one screen. Like,
Anything can happen here. In fact, God can come before you and sit right next to you, but still sit as the watcher of that. Anything can happen in phenomenality. It can go from 2D to 9D. It doesn't matter what happens. Just sit as the watcher of it.
when that 2D happens, I freak out.
Mm-hmm.
When that 2D happens, I freak out.
And
That's what
somebody
happens.
watches the one who's freaking out. What essence knows that there's a freak out happening?
There's no freaking out.
Of course there is. It's just the mind spinning
Sorry.
its wheels. Don't worry about it. It's not who you are. The one that's freaking out is just the play of phenomenality. You're the one that's watching this. The only thing to do is stabilize as the watcher. Everything else will take care of itself. You can trust this because it's your true nature and it's the true nature of existence itself. That's how supported you
Sorry.
are.
Sorry. This happens. This, this anxiety and resistance comes up very strongly.
Let
Very
it
strongly.
let it bubble out. It's bubbling out of you. Don't try to stop it. Let it bubble out. It's like throwing all of your delusions into a fire. It makes a lot of
It's like,
smoke. It bubbles up and out. It's boiling out. Just let it boil out. This is the same thing that happens. So what I'm doing right now is I'm showing you directly your own essence and having you sit in it. And energetically, things will just boil out. That same thing will happen when you go through that chakra cleanse exercise. Energies will start boiling out and you just let them
all
go.
I,
They're not you. They say nothing about you. They're
see,
just impurities burning off.
I was feeling like throwing up 2, 3 seconds ago. Now it is okay. Like, do those physical manifestations take place of
Oh
like
yeah,
literally throwing up?
that's completely normal.
Really?
It's completely normal. Yeah. But really you're just experiencing a tension of energy, letting go. You know, when a rubber band is held so tight, which is, an analogy for a belief held in the body. The body holds beliefs energetically. And when it's released, there can be an abrupt snapping, like something crazy can happen, like barfing or crying or laughing or some sort of uncontrollable thing. And you just let it happen. It's fine. Whether you barf, you feel anxiety, whatever, just remind yourself as that energy is kind of boiling up and out, you're just the watcher of it. And the more you can return to this space, the more effortlessly it boils up and out. But everything that you do here is good and worthwhile because all of these energies are letting loose. Things are shaking loose for you. So, like whatever energies that you're feeling a tension about, bubbling out and through the body, it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. You're letting go of tensions in your body. Already, you are a new person than you were 2 minutes ago.
This thing is, I know it is, I'm feeling relaxed about when you were saying this, but there is a voice that's telling me throughout that this is going on YouTube and people are going to watch it, and
I
they
can
are
cut out
going to
anything you want. I can cut out anything you want. I promise.
they, they're going to feel this about, I want to watch all this again, so I'm okay. Like, and it is going to, I think, it's going to be helpful for people also, because this thing of not allowing myself to throw up is not okay. Just to be normal, and because then I'm just resisting myself from being myself
hmm
also. So that's not okay.
Well, everything's okay,
Wouldn't-
but just don't hold a rigid definition of normal. Whatever is happening
Hmm,
is normal because it's happening.
hmm, hmm.
And whatever
Yeah.
happens is meant to happen. And you're right. It is very important that people see these kind of things because what you're going through, everybody goes through. This is normal. I
Hmm,
went through the same
hmm,
thing.
hmm, hmm.
And the other side is liberation, and it's worth it.
When you Can you tell more about your experience? Always wanted to ask you, because there was one of your videos which really helped me, where you showed that there was a lady, uh, she was talking to Moji ji, and while Moji ji was, feeling happy that she is liberated and she's got it, like, he checks people first that,
hmm
that did you really get it, and he
hmm
did that with her, and he felt like, good job. And during that talk, she just did something like this, or she just, and you paused that video and you showed it again, and you said, this is recalibration, like, this is energetic changes that take place in your body. What was it like for you? How was your experience through this kind of a period where there was development occurring of the
Yes. Yeah, no, I'd love to share. Well, there was many years of those weird kind of things happening, random laughter, sadness, and I understood it just as the boiling up and out of impurities. For some reason, a lot of these things have been intuitive to me, but it really came ahead when my youngest brother died. When my youngest brother died, I felt the sort of grief that was uncontrollable. A grief rushed through me that I couldn't have even stopped if I wanted to. So you think you can stop a barf, right? You think you can stop yourself from crying. You think you can stop yourself from feeling anxious by just diverting attention. Well, I didn't have any of those options. When my little brother died, there was nothing I could do to stop the grief from flowing out and flowing through me. And so it was just hours and hours of wailing and crying. And during that, maybe like, during that wailing, then it just felt like a full on raging river of energy flowing through me uncontrollably. I couldn't have stopped it if I wanted to. And so it was just flowing through, flowing through. And during that experience, there was complete peace. It was very strange. It was like it was all flowing through me, but I was established somehow as the watcher of it. And so as this grief, as this wailing was pouring through me, this sadness, all of these emotions, this crying, everything was pouring through me. There was no ability for me to stop it. And I was just at complete peace as the watcher of all of it. And this is the night my little brother died. You know what I mean? And there was complete peace. Even in the deepest dark depths of despair, there's a possibility for peace. And I learned that night. And as this energy flowed through, it felt like it cleared all of me out. It cleared everything out. Me and my little brother Jake, the one who died, talked about these things. We had many conversations about spirituality and things. And I feel when he
And
passed,
I just
he
had goosebumps all over my body. I just had goosebumps.
yeah, it
So
happens.
yeah.
One of the many things that happens. I felt like when he died, he he this is just a story I'm writing about it, of course. I don't know what really happens, but this is an energetic interpretation of what felt like what happened. As he transcended his body form, he took me with him. He took every bit of my own, energetic tensions and liberated me as he became liberated. I think we somehow had this tie together, and it
Yeah.
was like that while we were both alive together as physical humans interacting. And when he died, I went with him somehow. And so it was a very sort of violent, energetic release that I experienced, and a long one. It was that many hours of what appeared as anguish, but what was experienced as the complete grace of it felt like grace because it was almost as if I had no control. Well, I didn't have any control. I had no control and I had no part in it. I was just delivered to my true essence as this energetic
Mm.
energy was just blowing through me. And after it blew through, there was just nothing more to be tethered to. It just became this spacious, changeless, timeless isness. And that's just what it's been ever since.
So when there was this moment when you said that line and I told you I had goosebumps, uh, that before you even told this, I heard you both went together, like you both
Hmm.
transcended together, like, and that got me goosebumps. Like there was this feeling, yeah, there was feeling, and then a thought, but there was this feeling that you both went together,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you both transcended together and said the same thing in detail, like, yeah.
That's exactly how it felt. Yeah. And so whether you clear it all out at once in a wild 3 hour session like happened for me, or these small little burps and bubbles and barfs and anxieties, it can happen in it like incrementally like that, or all at once. And it happens
Mm,
different for everybody. But these energies need to be cleared out
mm, mm.
if this
And like
realization is going to be, if you're going to be established in this space of pure nature,
I've
pure
had,
isness.
I what I had written, it was I have had, you know, weird reactions to my family members, which they didn't probably deserve. I just react, and sometimes they try to do better, and they have tried to do better, but I still now react, and I don't like that. How do I deal with this, which I now don't like? What I have become, I don't know. Like, these reactions I don't want to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Like,
it's a great question because everybody goes through this. You know, who Ram Dass often said, If you think you've reached spiritual enlightenment, just go home and and have your mom or your dad have a conversation with your mom or your dad. And then you'll be just brought right back down to earth. And these are the kind of normal human interactions. We don't have to worry about them. Their version of you that they got was the version of you that they needed, and your version of you that or your version of them that you got was what you needed at that time. We're all walking each other home, and it can look crazy. It can look like hatred. It can look like diminishment. It can look like anything. But we all get what we need at that time. And the key here is always the same thing. What is the knower of this? And so anytime you feel an energetic sort of uprising of anger, or I don't want to interact with them anymore, I don't want to have a conversation with them anymore, I don't want to hear what they have to say to me, what their words to me are no longer valued here. All of that comes up, but the knower of that is always the same. And so as you just establish as the knowing essence, all of these relationships clarify, but they only clarify within you. They can still do whatever they want. You can't demand them to act any type of way. Everybody is allowed to act whatever way they feel like acting. That has nothing to do with you. You just need to establish yourself as the witness of this, as the witness of everything. And then for you, everything will clarify. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to then worry about your interactions. And you don't need to prohibit interactions either. You can be in a space where somebody might be yelling at you or condemning you. You're just the witness of this. It doesn't matter. And as you do this, you become liberated. It doesn't matter what set or setting you're in anymore. You're just the knowing essence of that.
I need not, so I need not have the guilt of those
Of
reactions,
course
and
not.
like I did,
No
but I
guilt.
did behave badly,
Did
even though
you?
they were.
Or was that
Mm,
just an energetic reaction that was happening in the moment? See, right now you're identifying with a particular action that you think you made. And of course, it looks like that. But we don't know where thoughts come from.
it was
We don't know where energetic impulses come from, right? Are you responsible for generating a thought? Did you create all your thoughts? Did you create all your actions? Or were you just participatory with an energetic momentum at the time?
yeah, but
Yeah,
at
you
this,
you were just part of a lived reality that was unfolding, or you thought you were.
but it was this body which was going like, ah, but it was this body
You
and
were
this
still the
voice
knower
and
of it. And right now, you're still just the knower of it.
hmm,
It can be hard to get this, but every time I'm telling you this, if you actually follow the direction and just see it, and then just stay as the seer of it, the more you can establish here, the more everything will just fall away. You don't need to feel guilt. What does guilt serve?
nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't serve anything. And in fact, feeling guilt just perpetuates an energy of a tumultuous energy. So feeling guilt right now will just perpetuate that energy. It
Hmm,
serves nobody. So let it go.
hmm.
Forgive yourself, forgive your family. You're completely clean and clear right now. And just sit as the knower of all of this. You have the opportunity right now to completely clarify your life.
There's a voice that said there is silence right now. See, now you're becoming enlightened. It says,
Who knows this or who's watching that? See, that's obviously a thought that's arising, right? No matter how true the thought might be, it's still a thought arising, and there's a knowing essence there that does not go along with it. It just knows that. It just sees it. This gets subtler and subtler. You might even be in deep meditation, just abiding as just the witness consciousness or just the pure beingness, the pure watcher, and all of a sudden something might happen. You'll get a body movement, and all of a sudden things will just burst into like complete light, for example, is a frequent experience. And you might go with that and be like, oh, I've bursted. I've become just a light being now. But
Hmm.
still, it's
Yeah.
subtle, but that's still just a thought, and there's still just a pure knowing essence even there. You might even erupt into God. You just become pure God essence. And still, there's even a more subtle knowing essence of that right here. There's a changeless reality right here. This is the absolute. It's more subtle than God.
Two things that happen. One, the thought starts saying continuously, this is a thought, 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 this is a thought. It starts doing that to me. And I get back into it like, this is a thought, this is a thought, this is a thought. It just continuously goes without gap.
Hmm.
And then second thing, second thing that happens is when probably I was there, like in the knowing, I was there for 1 or 2 seconds. Then comes, usually this happens usually when I'm trying to just know and be. And what happens is something comes up to tell me to do this or take this action or do that. So are those intuitive actions or thoughts?
Everything is occurring in front of
Asking.
the knower. You say, so the first thing that you said was there's a labeling, a tendency for labeling. This is a thought, this is a thought, this is a thought, this is a thought. Yes, that will continue to happen until it doesn't. These things
Hmm.
just have to wind themselves out. These are still just energy being released. Every thought is
Hmm.
still just energy, whether it bubbles up in the
Hmm.
body as like uh goosebumps as you experienced, or it bubbles up in the mind as a thought. It's still just an energy release. And so they might come either through the body or the mind, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. But soon they will subside, I promise you. Or at the very least, there will be a gap that's noticed between them. There will be. And as the more you pay attention to the gap between thoughts, the more the spaciousness begins to open up until everything is just pure space. Things flow through space, but there's just space. And you're
Yes.
more noticing than the space than the objects that flow through it. And at that point, you're on the other side of the door. You're on the other side of the doorway to awakening. You've crossed the threshold. When you notice more the space than the objects that flow through them, whether it be thought or bodily sensation or energy movements, just notice the space. As you notice the space, you're sitting in your true place, your true nature. That's just the knowing essence. The knowing essence that you know that you are, that you exist, is this. It's self-evident, it's self-luminous. If you delete everything that you think you know. Throw all of it away. Throw everything of yourself away. You'll still be there as this.
While you were talking, the 2D thing was happening again. And I tried to know and watch that also, that there is something telling me that 2D is happening, 2D is happening. But it does happen when it happens and things become 2D. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they just become like a computer screen. Everything
Mm-hmm.
becomes like a computer screen.
It's just part of phenomenality. You might completely become a light being. You might completely burst into light. And every you see just everything as just this pure luminosity. No matter what happens, it's still phenomenal, and it's still witnessed from a more subtle essence
Mm.
just established there. It's just about continuing to come back here. This is becoming established in your true and fundamental nature. Just keep coming back here to the knowing essence. No matter what is known, there is a knower that is more subtle than anything that can be known. And don't take identity even as the knower. Don't say, okay, I'm just a witness. I'm just a witness. Because even then, there's still
This is a thought.
identification as a thing. There is just this essence that words can't touch. It's an ineffable essence. So I can't describe it. Otherwise I would just make it not another object. But you have to intuit this essence of awareness that I'm speaking of, where there is no I. It's more subtle than I, and yet you're there. And the more you trust this is why they say you need to trust the guru's word. I'm not a guru, but you do need to trust that you will still remain when you throw everything, including yourself, out.
But you are a guru. You should. Yeah, I've heard you say that in a video, which is which helped me when you said, "Fuck that." Like, there's no guru. You don't need no guru. But that was a teaching that I got from you, and you are my guru. So yeah.
Well, I don't identify as anything. You can have whatever name
I
you
know.
want for
I
me,
know.
but I'm not that. But I
I know
respect
you.
I respect all anybody's wishes to do whatever, have whatever permission slip that they need to accept the truth of their own nature.
You said permission slip?
Permission slip, yes.
What's that?
Sometimes we need to give ourselves a permission slip to believe something. And so if somebody that you dislike tells you something, you're probably not going to believe it. But if somebody that you like tells you something, you're more inclined to believe it. So you're giving yourself permission to have a belief just based on whether or not you like that person that's saying something. You know what I mean? So you're giving yourself permission to have a belief. And oftentimes we have to give ourselves permission to let go, for example. You know, like I'm giving you permission to let go of your attachment to any sort of relationship status with any particular person. You need to give yourself permission to let go. And in that, you'll find liberation.
Wow. So mm, that doesn't matter to me that if I call you guru or not. Like, that really is not the point. But for me, you're like truth. Like, for me, you're like truth. And when truth tells me, uh, so you're truth for me, and I gave that permission slip to myself, and then you, the truth, gives me permission slip to me that you can release and let go of the attachment. This is so beautiful.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, it is being done by you. Wow. Nice.
This is you just meeting yourself. The essence I speak from is the same essence that you are already right now.
Yeah. Hmm. Still, yeah. Still the mind is going, this is a thought, this is a thought, this is a thought. But I'm talking like what I want to, yeah, this is a thought.
The spaciousness will open up if you just continue to find your true seat as just the observer of that, the knowing essence of that.